I started as an intern my sophomore year of college. So my spring semester sophomore year, 2016. It was kind of like a intern, and then I kind of stopped being an intern, but I was working on like different shows. At that point, I had, built up different contacts. So I would go and intern independently on other shows. Also, I just wanted to learn. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is better than being at school because we don't learn, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't get hands-on at school. So just being in the atmosphere, learning really whatever I could. Like I was learning from the sales to the production to the promotion to the personality to the, like, I just was trying to just figure out, okay, where can I fit in? Officially, the tail end of January or the right beginning of February, one of the two. I just kind of felt like it was time. Like, I mean, they had done furloughs for Corona, of course. And so I was still recording and sending my segments in on the show that I was on. And so then around October, I kind of like just stopped. But I was still an employee, but it was like a furloughed employee. At the beginning of this year, I was like, okay, it's like time for me to, just completely separate. It kind of went hand in hand. Um, I felt it, but I didn't have the words to express it, if that makes sense. So some people may feel like this is coming from left field, this is coming out of nowhere. But for me, this is like, it's been brewing. You get what I'm saying? Because if it came out of left field and if it came sporadically, I feel like my delivery would have been different and I wouldn't have gotten the response that I got. But I feel like people felt what I was saying because I sat with that feeling for so long. Like that wasn't just something that I just woke up and felt. That was brewing inside of me until I couldn't hold it anymore. The feeling that I had was like disappointment. Like it was just like, wow, I was so excited to work for Radio One, like a Black owned company that is one of the top leading companies in like radio and media. I like can't even explain that feeling. And so to have a company or a something at like a top tier level in your life, and then for you to kind of be reminded that no, this pride that you have is misplaced. No, everything you thought was wrong. No, like to be told no on so many different levels, it's like, dang, but I thought that like y'all cared. Like I thought that like we were like moving forward. I thought we were building generational wealth. I thought we were leaving legacies. I misread the relationship. It's like a woman that's been with a man for so long and then come to find out he has a kid, he has a whole double life. And it's like, well, damn, I just have been bamboozled. So the feeling was disappointment. And it wasn't just in the company, it was in the employees too, because it's like, dang, y'all, no one was gonna tell me the truth. Like y'all all felt this way and no one was gonna say anything, like no one was gonna speak up. Like we're just gonna just keep going the way that things are going. Like that's what life is about, being mistreated. And so that's where I got disappointed too, because I'm like, our job is to inspire and electrify, and our job is to like give people hope. At least that's what I thought the job was. And so to figure out that no, that's not the job, it just was disappointing. Like I can't even. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, because I'm just like, I was so wrong. Like I was just wrong. And just to know that you weren't even kind of wrong. You were just all the way wrong. Like you got a F on the test. Like, yeah, definitely disappointing, man. I don't have another word. It's just disappointing. I think, well, not I think. The feeling now is okay. The feeling is just okay. I feel like the feeling it's a semicolon, because before disappointment was a period. And now it's a semicolon, because it's like you started something. There may not necessarily be something we can pinpoint or something we know exactly the direction it's going in, but you started something. You said something that so many people were feeling that they never said. Like, so it's just like, okay, Creed, you said something, and now you have to figure out, you know, what else needs to be said, because there's so much that needs to be said. And there's so many people that feel the way that you feel and felt. And that whole time you thought you were alone. And it's like, you weren't. You weren't alone, and you weren't wrong, and you weren't tripping. Like, so it's like you go from being disappointed because you feel like you were wrong. And while in some aspects you were wrong, the way that you were feeling was not wrong. And so now that disappointed feeling can go from not necessarily being as disappointed, but go to moving past that disappointment. Because before it was just like, I'm just disappointed because I guess I just didn't understand. And no one, taught me or told me what's really going on. And so, yeah, I feel like now it's a feeling of semicolon. I don't know if that's a feeling, but it's a feeling of moving forward, learning, doing better, and showing people that, it's okay to feel what you feel and speak up for what you feel. Because if you don't, how are they going to know? They're going to keep going on with the way that they do things, thinking that it's okay because no one's saying anything, Just in my understanding, you come in at 18, you're extremely naive. You're just excited, like you're just super, super excited. Yay, I'm so excited. Like I'm in a radio station, like, wow, that was me. I was the yay. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Every single day I walked from school to the radio station, I was excited. If I needed to go get coffee, I was excited about getting somebody's coffee. Like I was excited to go get the mail. I was that person, okay? Like, so I just feel like my understanding or lack thereof was just wrong. I was naive. I didn't see it for what it was. I saw it for what I wanted it to be. And so in that, I was wrong because it was there. It was right there in my face. But again, because I had it on such a high pedestal, even me standing on my tippy toes, I couldn't see it for what it really was. I think my particular issue lies with it being Black owned and white ran. But I do feel like this is a general problem against all like different workplaces, because outside of Radio One, someone reached out to me regarding an entertainment media company they work for. And they said the exact same thing. They said, thank you for speaking out about this, because this happens in my workplace as well. And I'm like, I was just talking about Radio One. Like I didn't expect to be speaking for, you know, people across different careers, you know, like, because how can I speak on, you know, what I don't know or what I'm not privy to? So my personal like thing that I'm advocating for is for a Black owned company to not be ran by white people, and for the Black employees to get the same opportunities as the white employees. By no means am I saying no white people allowed. No, like, I think if they're qualified for the job, they should definitely be considered. But when you have Black people that are more than capable of executing the desired position, and they're constantly overlooked, and then constantly underpaid, and then constantly not given opportunity, and then like it's like a constant like breakdown. It's like, I mean, come on, like I don't, me personally, I don't understand that. And I feel like this is something that affects a lot of the employees within just Radio One, period. Because a lot of other employees have reached out to me anonymously, letting me know that they shared my sentiments and they understood where I was coming from, and they wished that things were different. And it's like, we are already minorities in the world. Why do we have to be treated less than and be minorities in our own companies too? It's like, dang, we just don't get a break. You know, you would think that working for a Black company, you would get that break. You wouldn't have to code switch. You wouldn't have to, you know, pretend to be something that you're not so you can fit in. You would think. And then you get into a Black company, one of the biggest Black companies, and you do. It's like, well, damn, I could have just went to the white company, you know, but where I know what I'm getting. And that's the problem. It's a mind fuck, because, you know, if you go to a white company, 9 times out of 10, they may not really understand where you come from. They may not understand your hair. They may not understand the way you dress. You understand, by taking that job, there's about an 8 out of 10 possibility that some shit ain't gonna be right. It's gonna be some level of uncomfortability you're gonna have to endure. But with a Black company, it's like, no, I shouldn't. I'm already uncomfortable in life, in the world. I don't want to have to go to this Black company that, you know, I take pride in, while it simultaneously diminishes my pride. I mean, I think that that's very much true, because whether people acknowledge it or not, having white skin comes with a certain level of, what is the word? It comes with a level of credibility. That's the word. So, meaning immediately when you see a white person, you subconsciously already think like they have money, or they got a good education, or they have a beach house. So like, just in your subconscious, like you're not even assuming, you just automatically expect that. So when you have these white people in these higher positions, you automatically expect for them to come dressed business. You expect for them to know what they're talking about. You expect for them to have an education. You expect for them to be fluent in what they're speaking about. Even if they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, you just expect and you wait until they prove you wrong. Versus a Black person, you automatically assume humble beginnings. You automatically assume maybe you dropped out of high school. In your subconscious, like this isn't like something you're just, I'm staring you up and down. In your subconscious, you automatically think, oh, either they have to play basketball or they have to play football, or those stereotypes are attached to our skin color. And so I definitely feel like when you're doing business, you're going to put your best foot forward. It's like you're going to put the pretty girl at the front. You get what I'm saying? To sell whatever you're trying to sell. Or like Hooters, you're going to put the big boob girl at the front and make sure the boobies is pressed up to her chin because that's what sells. So in business, because business has, for the most part, been done with white people and they have always controlled that, you're going to put that token white person at the front of that Black company to be the spokesperson when it's time to be professional, even if they don't know what they're talking about. I know that if I put this white person in a room with these other white people, at least one deal is going to be made. Versus if I put this one Black person in this room full of white people, we don't really want to gamble with that chance of not getting that deal made. Even them doing that is them acknowledging the deficit and them acknowledging the hardship and them subconsciously acknowledging what is going on, but choosing not to speak up for it. So that's my problem. It's like, I could see if we weren't doing anything for you. We were not bringing in any money. The station wasn't doing good, but the station is doing or was doing good. Like these stations are targeting Black people. So in it targeting Black people, the least you could do is speak up for us. The least you could do is allow us a seat at the table. Like we're not saying, or I'm not saying, let's go make our own table completely separate. I'm just saying, can you at least, considering everything that we have done and are doing, we are killing ourselves mentally, financially, spiritually, and God knows in how many other ways people are killing themselves to try to keep up with this machine that's going to keep going whether they're on it or not. So it's like the least you could do is let me go to a meeting. The least you could do is let me learn so that one day I can be adequate enough to fill the shoes that you have already set. But no, it's not even that. We don't even get the chance to learn. It's like, no, only white people. You go over there and perform though. But only white people. Nope. Not on this business meeting. We'll let you know when you can come. And that's all I'm saying. It's like, I just want it to be fair. And I understand blah, 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 life isn't fair or whatever. But just because life isn't fair, who gave you the jurisdiction to decide to be unfair? Like, I get life isn't fair, but you as a person are supposed to treat people as if they're people. I feel like the encounter that happened with the officer further stamped what I felt.
Ain't no more listening. Boycott them until they fire Tim Davies, that is. That's the VP over at Radio in Atlanta that's not qualified for the job. And I know this because I worked for him for 4 years. And all he does is sit and rob us of our dignity and drains us spiritually, making us feel like we really the enemy, making us feel like outside ain't real. And you know what? I got the perfect example to show how he really feels. Because when a police assaulted me and it was all over the news, he called me in his office casually and told me to just let it cruise despite being bruised. Because police brutality wasn't really a reality and that I should be kind and not outshine my coworkers at the time. Now, these are words from his face, so you can imagine my face looking at his face, looking at a man that's clearly displaced. So I said, since I was assaulted and the police was the culprit, why don't we do something for the community? I get some listeners and some policemen to come together to talk about the problems within, because if all our listeners are gone, who's going to listen to the same old songs? He looked at me and said, from his privileged head, that doing something like that doesn't make sense because it doesn't directly affect our target demographic. This man looked at my face as I pretended not to be displaced and told me that Radio 1 just wasn't the place and that police brutality wasn't something our target demographic had to face. Our target demographic that happens to be me, that got assaulted in her own city. Our target demographic that happens to be Black, by the way, that fears for their life every single day. The target demographic that he knows nothing about but continues to get bonuses off of our clout. Is the reason why we need him out. Now, you can pretend like you don't hear me, but I promise you this, you are going to feel me, because I'm not going to stop till this man is dropped, and I'm not going to stop till his privileges popped. For those that can't seem to simply comprehend, to plug your aux cords in, because ain't no more listening to Hot 107.9, Praise 102.5, Magic 107.5, and Classics 102.9. As in, boycott them till they release Massa Tim.
You know how you know that something's going on, but until you get like clear-cut evidence, you're not going for it because you have just such high hopes. That's what it was. So it was like, I feel it and I know it. But that particular instance was like, okay, so now I really know it. Like, okay, so I can no longer hide behind me thinking or feeling. It's something that I know. Our feelings could tell us one thing, our assumptions could tell us one thing, but when you know something and it's laid out with a big red bow, it's like, okay. So that is kind of, that was the, what's it called? That was the, like the straw that broke the camel's back, for instance. It was like, okay, I can't keep pretending, because you're not even pretending. I can see if we were playing the pretending game, but you aren't even pretending. So that just lets me know that you just are extremely disconnected. So with you being extremely disconnected, and I know that we're in Atlanta, a place with a lot of people that are connected, why not give this position to someone that is connected? Like, literally, because you have shown that you don't have to be qualified for the position. And you have shown that you don't have to be connected for the position. So if the position is just so easy and you technically don't really have to do anything, why can't we give it to a Black person? Like, since we're talking about doing nothing and they assume that Black people do nothing anyway, why not put somebody in that position to do nothing? Like, if we just have time to waste, money to waste, why not waste it on a Black person? You know what? I think that is what took me so long to say something. So initially I did worry. And I feel like that's when I went on my journey, my spiritual journey. And I had to realize that I wasn't put here to do that. So by me worrying, now I'm being counterproductive. And by me hiding what I really feel, now I'm being counterproductive. And I will never get to where I'm trying to go if I continue to silence myself, because the world will do that for you. So to answer your question, yes, initially I was. And I had to become more secure with myself and being by myself. So initially it was like, I don't want to be the only one. I don't want to, I don't want to do it. And then, people don't really listen. Or I was worried just about uncontrollable factors. But I had to realize that, you know what, Qri, if it's meant to be, it's going to be. And that's just it. You don't even want to work for a place that is not honest and upfront, that does not value you for who you are. Why would you want to do that? But I feel like we're so conditioned to being where we're not truly wanted or truly appreciated that that's just natural for us. And so I really struggled coming out of that, trying to figure out what appreciation looked like, trying to figure out, you know, how special I am. I had to learn that. I had to relearn that because that's not taught. And so now where I am now, I wouldn't say that I'm worried, just because I know that I did not do it out of a malicious place. And I didn't do it out of me trying to be mean or me trying to condemn or condescend, or it did not come from a negative place, if that makes sense. It came from a genuine place that just wants answers, and it wants to just understand, okay, that makes sense to you? That literally a white man is controlling what you listen to. That makes sense? Okay, well, if it makes sense, can someone explain it to me? Because I just want to know, like. So I think now it's not so much as worry. It's more so of comfortability. Am I going to be comfortable in my truth? I feel like that is also something that I'm learning as well. Because before Corona, I was like, die hard radio. And then Corona came and the world changed, and then my life changed, and I began to get into activism work, and I began to get really deep into it. And I finally felt like I was doing something I was supposed to be doing. Meaning, I finally had like-minded people around me that saw what I saw. So for instance, at the station, I had people that saw what I saw entertainment-wise. But regarding leaving a legacy, I wasn't surrounded by anyone that was leaving like an imprint on the world, meaning when they leave, they will have changed something. They will have made some sort of mark. And so to now be surrounded by so many different people that are genuinely working towards leaving a legacy and leaving a mark, it's like, wow, okay, so, I love radio. I loved it. But was that, what I was supposed to be doing at the time? So I think right now I am on that journey to figure out exactly what is my lane. Have I created a new lane of just calling people into their consciousness, or being the quote unquote cool person that's cool enough to call people out, that's cool enough to be aware of their surroundings? Because you always have the cool person that don't know shit, or the cool person that's dumb, or the cool person that's just too cool to, do anything meaningful. So it's like, I don't want to just be that cute, cool person, because it's like that who gives a fuck? I genuinely want to encourage people to just question everything, And I feel like that is what that's the journey that I'm on. So I don't know what career path that would be. Maybe that's a lane I'm just creating in its entirety, but that's kind of like the road that I feel like I'm on right now. Oh no, because then again, Black people are getting lowballed, and we're being forced to take crumbs. An apology is a crumb. And that's the mindset I'm trying to get away from. We can no longer survive off of crumbs. You saying that you are sorry is a crumb. And that's not what I said. I said, until you no longer work there. So no, because you're not sorry. You are only sorry because I'm saying something. But the statement you made to me was what? almost 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And you made that statement with conviction, like you felt that. So there's no apology needed. My feelings aren't hurt. They were, definitely they were, but at this point, no, you don't get to apologize, because if the roles were reversed and it was a Black employee, a Black vice president that was insensitive to his white employee, he wouldn't even have time to apologize. He wouldn't even have had time to create an even more hostile work environment for his employees. He wouldn't even had the time to go to the bathroom. So no, I don't want an apology. That's not what I asked for. I want what I asked for. And I feel like that's the problem with the Black community. We never get what we ask for. We just get what they give us. If they truly cared about their employees, I would not have had to post a second video, because that first video would have been it. They would have reached out to me. They would have figured out a way to help combat what's going on, to help figure out the problem and fix it. Because again, if the roles were switched and it was a Black man being accused of whatever, they would have let him go without hesitation. If white women were boycotting, they would have let him go without hesitation, because they could not afford that. But now I have to continue telling other people's stories, because clearly one story wasn't enough. You got to go back to the pedestal. I'm slowly but surely lowering the pedestal. So while the pedestal ain't on 10 feet, a little part in me that believed so much, they didn't go from 10 feet to 0 feet. They went from 10 feet to like 2 feet. So I still have a little hope.